Good morning. Welcome to our Success Story series. Today is Thursday, and we have a special guest. Like every time with our success stories, we have a very good story to tell. So my name is Maria Rene Davila. I'm the founder of the Successful Women in Business and the Chief Executive Officer for the Global Trade Chamber. And I have Al Otero, the president of the Global Trade Chamber, and also my business partner. So I'm going to ask you all to introduce our guest today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Preeti. We have a very special guest coming all the way from today. We're in Singapore.
Yes, it's Preeti Kachroo.
Preeti
Did I pronounce it?
Kachroo.
See?
Yes,
I'm
Kachroo.
learning about last names and first name.
From all over the world. I mean, we've been touching every continent, so it's exciting.
We're so happy to have you here.
We haven't been in Singapore before, so this is a first.
Yes.
So
So I should say a
ready
very
to go
warm
to bed.
welcome to Singapore, and thank you so much. I really feel privileged to be part of this success stories. Thank you, Alatero, and thank you, Maria, for bringing me into this show.
Well, we're very happy to learn about you, and you're a very special person in this very difficult times because you're in the medical field in pharma. You're the global medical affairs leader for GSK, one of the biggest companies, I think, in the world, right?
Yes, in consumer health, yes.
Wow, that's amazing. So you're an MD, you're not a doctor also.
Medical doctor?
So I am an Ayurvedic physician, and I'm also MD in alternative medicine. Besides a post-graduation in patents law, in clinical research, and in pharmaceutical regulatory affairs. These are all the functions that are pretty useful when you are working as a scientist, as a researcher in a pharma or a consumer health.
Wow, that's amazing. A lady in this field. This must be not too common, right?
Yes, I think that's where my journey started. So after completing my bachelor's, so I started and completing my MD in alternative medicine. I started my journey in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, which is Asia's one of the best hospital in surgical oncology, which is breast cancer wing. So when I was working there as a researcher, then I came to know that this world is not as easy as it looks. There are a lot of challenges which start in terms of the very first step, which is gender bender. So I was the only woman, the only Ayurvedic physician who was sitting among all graduating surgeons, and where I had to prove myself, yes, as a woman, I can. So I had to prove myself not in the health sciences, but beyond that, that it's not only that you contribute towards the society, you can also increase your dimensions to the social responsibilities as well. And I got associated with many organizations like Breast Cancer Foundation, and similarly also for the special needs children, which was by the name of Muskan. So besides doing my responsibilities as a senior research fellow, as a researcher in the hospital, I was also investing my time as a humanitarian, serving these patients who needed a counseling because they were coming out of breast cancer. They really needed a support, emotional, financial, social. So I started my journey in 1999 when I did my very first job in the AIMS hospital in Delhi, India.
Wow. So you're originally from India?
Yes. So I'm originally from India, and now I've been in Singapore for quite some time. It's more than 12 years. And now Singapore is my home country. So I have this, I'm like a global citizen. I have been traveling to multiple countries, gaining experiences as part of my medical affairs job, and moving around the world, taking up the learnings, bringing the knowledge around health and medicines back to the country and back to the people.
That's amazing.
What a journey. Very, very nice.
How the Singapore is doing with the virus? How they are handling?
So I think if you talk about Singapore, it is a very well organized, not only in terms of how they manage the law, but also how they manage the healthcare. The moment it got impacted, we went into the circuit breaker, which is similar to what we call as lockdown in other countries. And we are still in the partial lockdown, which is known as phase 2. So we do a special, you can say, arrangements in terms of tracing, which is known as contact tracing. Each and every patient who gets impacted is being traced out in terms of the clusters or the people they are meeting with. So they have really set up a good tracking system, and you will not even find one single person, even small babies, you will see wearing the mask. So nobody goes out without masks, and there are not more than 5 people meeting in phase one, which is already a partial lockdown. So pretty
Wow.
stringent in following the healthcare, that is respiratory and hand hygiene, and the healthcare system in terms of providing masks, or also in terms of providing them through community, because not everybody has that availability of getting into designer mask or different types of masks. So this is what community is
Yeah.
doing. So I'm also one of the grassroots leader in community, serving from past 10 years. And through my community, we did set up a lot of centers where we distributed the mass irrespective of from which economic sector the person
Wow.
is coming from. And this is what is done by government in association with government. So there is a big planning around not only taking the prevention part, but also the management part by the Singapore government.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. Right now, we have a need for masks for a long time. Finally, they're getting out here. But the challenge has been that we, at the beginning, were not prepared with masks. And the government really had no intervention in providing masks. And that is a great model for the government to take a leading role in providing masks. We talked about that.
Yes.
That of all the things that they offer out here in the government, they even offer birth control free, but no masks.
No.
So it's an amazing. Where's the priorities here? So very impressive, very impressive. So you've been involved in this since the beginning.
Yes, and I'm
Yes.
sure that the way you are handling the healthcare system right now in Singapore, as you described, is working. But what about small businesses? How they are surviving during this crisis?
I think that's a very good question. So, government is not only limited in terms of providing these masks or reminding by these awareness campaigns how much hand hygiene are we really, need to take care of, but also they have provided with financial support across to the citizens and PRs. So there are schemes around how to help people, and they also support in terms of skill development. So that's a beautiful area. Remember, we are at home,
Mhm.
so not all of them are privileged to work from home and continue their work, but there are different sectors like aviation and others where it was not very active just 2 3 months back. So there, what government has came up with are these different schemes so that people who are sitting at home can upgrade their skills. And that also reminds me, as part of the community and beyond the community, as an individual, as a humanitarian, I did involve in various community center programs where we are engaging people because they need mental and social support as well. It is not only financial. So there are different art programs, there are yoga programs. So I'm one of the yoga instructors as well. So there are these multiple
Wow.
programs, there are health talks, and there are spiritual talks. So there are multiple topics which are of your choice, which are run either by CC or by individuals like me to help the people to engage their minds more skillfully and to stay positive during this corona crisis.
Amazing.
So how do you deal with there's so many factors involved in dealing with it, not only the financial, but also the mental and the physical stress, and yoga must be a great way for people to unwind.
Yeah, and we have been talking about this situation, the psychology part, the
The
mental
mental.
aspect, I would say, because it's affecting everybody and every age. Because even teenagers or the youth generation, students that are going to college, universities, they also are going through this frustration because they feel healthy, but they don't know what to do because they cannot do things, but they are doing things. So it's like a circle that you don't know where to start or where to stop. And it's also affecting seniors. Like my mom is a good example.
Yes.
She doesn't want to go out anywhere for nothing. I keep telling her, please, let's go for a walk. Let's do some exercises because I have a beautiful golf course there that you can actually walk. she doesn't want to do it. She's so afraid about this crisis that she's going to get infected with the virus. And when you hear the news, all the time is something bad to say. So there's not really a positive comment to make about this crisis. And when we have this type of interviews with you, experts like you give us some hope in terms of that things are going to get better soon, and how other countries are handling also the pandemic. But definitely the mental part is super important, and some type of therapy or exercises definitely help a lot.
That's great. Also, this is something we always
Oh,
talk
yes.
about.
Changing the subject. Preeti. We're going to talk about Preeti, because Preeti is, what is
Also,
beautiful,
a
right?
beauty queen.
Yes.
So
Thanks.
she does it all. I mean, what doesn't she do?
Wow. So you are superwoman.
Yeah, superwoman.
And believe me, when you said Superwoman, so I have got this. So there is radio 96.3 FM here in Singapore, which is the only Hindi station. And
Wow.
the interesting part is they had run these competitions. So I was awarded and nominated as a Superwoman as well. So I have
That's
Superwoman.
great.
So I do have a few. So I should say I am blessed in this journey because I was looking for different platforms. How can I spread the message about not only healthcare, but also to inspire others and lend my hand to bring people in who want to be on a similar path on how can we spread this message of love, care, and support to each other.
Mm,
So I found these pageant platforms, the outreach was pretty high. So I thought,
yeah,
why
they
should I
are.
limit myself to only healthcare? Is there something that I really need to learn? And is there anything that I can explore from these platforms? And I should say, I was lucky enough. So the very first platform that I joined was Miss Personality, and in that competition, I came as a winner. So I am
Wow.
2013 winner. And then I didn't stop there because I thought it was just a Singapore competition. So I went abroad for the international competition that was held in India, and there were participation around the world. And the good part
Wow.
is, I was again fortunate enough to be Mrs. India Universe Courageous, that is 2017, and it
That is
inspired me to
awesome.
roll into more pageants. Some of them were from the pageantry, some of them were more about the talent. And one of the talent show was known as Wonder Woman Singapore, and I came the first runner up there. So if you name
Wow, that's
Wow.
it.
amazing.
She's done
So
it all?
and
Yeah,
I
that's
did take
awesome.
up my courses there because I thought these are the platforms where not only the participants, in fact, when these shows get relayed through the TV and media, there are multiple people who actually get inspired, who connect with you, who
Yes.
want to learn
Yes.
from you, and the outreach really multiplies. Instead of just being confined to what you are doing today, like in the healthcare sector, I thought there are
Mm.
other ways to communicate, whether it is through community center or whether it is through the different platforms that you can participate and still be the voice either of women empowerment or maybe child healthcare. There are many topics that I have picked and many non-profit organizations that I have supported so far in my 20 years journey, I should say.
Wow. And
20
you're with
years.
Loani?
Wow.
You're part of Loani.
Yes, and that is the beautiful association. I think I really want to thank Dr. Caroline Makaka.
Yes.
She's a sister. She's a sister. It's like a bond. The bond sometimes comes, there are these blood relations, but to me, to be more honest, there is this tribe of sisterhood which has a similar passion, which has a similar outreach, which really lives for the cause. And I think this is how Dr. Caroline Makaka is. She not only inspires you, she also involves and engages you if you think the passion is really, you are the birds of the same flock. So this is what I really found. So I got connected to Loani, which is Ladies of All Nation International, and I'm currently the chairperson for the Singapore. So
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
so interesting
Excellent.
journey that it was more like learning and leading and going hand in hand and bringing the cause to the society. So currently I'm also running a talk show which is known as We Are the Change Makers. And
Superwoman.
and so thank you. And I have already interviewed many change makers across our little red dot, which is Singapore. And these change makers are really making a difference in the society. One of the examples I want to pick up is for the migrant workers in the COVID-19. So when you ask about
Mm.
Singapore and how they are managing it, so there has been they are so well planned that they started proactively testing the dormitories as well.
Mm.
And for these dormitories, when these migrant workers, the ones who were impacted, were found, so some of them were not that financially good. So, what these change makers are doing, and I have been part of the same chain as well, where we not only raise funds for them to be financially, more capable of managing their day-to-day life when they are already infected and they are quarantined, we are also taking a step above in terms of providing them the food supplies. So there are different change makers who are making differences in different ways. One of the other thing that I remember is I usually don't celebrate birthdays just like a party. I always do a fundraiser, and I pick up one non-profit organization across India or
Wow,
Singapore. So
that's
this time
awesome.
what we did was I raised the fund, and we did it for Club Rainbow, so which is for the cancer patients or the chronic ailments for children, because children, anything close to children, whether it is health, safety, or education, is very close to my heart. And the second that we did was in my family, the second birthday, what we did was we celebrated by sending cakes and pastries to the first line workers, because this was the first time they
Oh,
were
that's nice.
managing the pandemic, and they were totally not prepared how many hours they are going to
Oh,
spend managing these
horrible.
patients. So it was so
Yes.
Yes.
encouraging, the kind of note that you receive, and they say this really makes a difference. So you feel more empowered, because it is not only empowering yourself, it is also empowering these first line workers who are unconditionally there working for you and working for the society to maintain the health.
Yeah, what definitely I love the concept of the all the activities that you are involved with, because sometimes we believe that being successful is about just succeeding in your company or succeeding in one thing in your life. But I believe that success is actually a combination of elements. Yesterday we were talking with Dr. Akshata Prabhu, and she actually taught us how to do the balance in life, which is about being,
Mental wellness.
I
How
know,
to,
but you also want to look for wealth, and there was a
yes,
difference between being rich and being
and wealthy.
wealthy. So that is the part that I believe is a combination of elements, because you can succeed in everything in your life if you focus on it. And the way you're managing your life is definitely a total success, because you are involved in several
Yes.
activities. A lot of people don't have time to do it. I don't
Or
know
they don't
how you
know
do
how to
it,
manage,
how to manage it
because
exactly.
it's not about the time, it's how you manage the time.
A lot of people complain about, oh, I don't have time for my kids, I don't have time for me, I
Yes.
don't have, and they are only doing one thing. So
Yeah,
it's because how you manage your time,
exactly.
but also the goal that you put in your life, right? How you plan your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks. I
So
think this is
you're
where it starts in terms of what is the purpose of life. So once I started in my journey, my aim was to be a researcher, to be a scientist, and to be able to serve the humanity. But then I realized that in this journey, there were many people who were impacted. So when we talk about the patients, not every patient was able to get the cancer treatment. When we talk about the people who were getting
wow.
cancer treatment, I realized that it is not only the treatment they are looking for, they are also looking for psychological support. And
Of
then I
course.
also realized that it is not a journey that I can conquer by myself. So there is the big role that my family plays. It's completely delegation, support, working together as a team. If I go on Saturdays or weekends, when I go for my community services, so my kids also follow me and learn how to do the volunteering there. Similarly, my husband is there to step in when I am doing some community service or some volunteering in non-profit
That's great.
organization, then he is there to manage the house. So we both go
That's good.
hand in hand
Behind a great
managing it.
woman, there's a great man.
Yes,
Yeah, the
you have really
very
picked it right.
it's a team. It's a team. It's the only way you can make it. It's a team effort. Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time. We're going to have to follow up with you because we'd love to really have a good conversation about COVID-19, because there's a lot of questions unanswered still, and you're right in the middle of it. So I think you'd be a great person just to have a interview about COVID in one of our webinars.
And also, we want to learn more about Singapore.
Yes,
I'm
here's
looking
a
forward to
beautiful
it.
country. Yes, yes. So we're very honored, very happy that we met Superwoman. I thought you were Superwoman, but I guess you're not the only
That's
one.
our program, Wonder Woman.
So
Oh, she's Wonder Woman.
so
You're
let me add
Superwoman.
up.
She's Wonder Woman.
Every woman is a superwoman and every woman is a Wonder Woman. And
Yes,
I like it.
yes.
that goes to our allies like you as well.
Oh, I'm
So it is
100% supporter. You're an inspiration to young women. I'm very happy to meet you, and they need to hear people like you because young women are lost right now with all this COVID and everything. There's no family. There's everything's just chaotic. So you're getting women to say, "I can do it, no matter what." This is
Yeah.
what we need to hear.
And share with us before we finish the interview something positive about the virus, something that people wants to hear.
So I should say, like they say, nothing is impossible. And as they usually say that everything comes to an end, whether it is good days or bad days. Remember, we are already working. There are multiple countries along with WHO working for the vaccine, working for the management in different sectors, how to manage COVID-19. So of course, we have recently heard about the Russia, and we have been hearing about UK and other countries where already the vaccine is being developed in
Wow.
association with other pharma giants. So I wish all the best, and I hope when we connect back again, we will be
Yes.
talking in a new normal, which is non-corona zone, and there are multiple natural treatments as well, which is being
Good.
given by Ayush, which is Ministry of India, which is Health
Wow.
Ministry of India, which actually mentions things like curcumin. They mention multiple things that builds up your immunity, like there are multiple things which can help you build up immunity, and these things can be taken at home that can at least help you to manage and build immunity at the end so that you can manage the diseases irrespective of being corona or viruses or bacteria
Mm.
in a better way. So I wish
Oh, Preeti, you have
everybody.
to tell us what things because
Yeah, you
now
have to
Yes,
everybody's
send us
asking
that
what thing.
information. We're gonna post it everywhere. Send us the information.
yes.
No, but she can share with
And
us some right now.
Yes.
of course, I'm going to share the complete detail with you and for all the people because it's really interesting. There are multiple ways, so we don't define ourselves in only in the ingredients or the components, but also a lifestyle change. When we talk
Mm.
about Ayurveda, it is a composite thing. It's not only about what you have to eat, it is also on in terms of medicine, but also what food you should be eating, what exercises you should be doing. If it is yoga, which all specific poses are really, really helpful to you to manage the stress, to manage, if you're working from home, so you're sitting for long hours, there will
Oh
be backache, there are
yes.
multiple things. So there are different exercises or different yoga postures for different people. And similarly, there are different ingredients, whether it is the herbal or a natural component, or whether it is the food which you should be taking that can help you to ride through these crises.
Well,
Wow.
we want to invite you to do a webinar on
I
all
look
this
forward for that.
prevention. So we'll contact you regarding that because this is the perfect time to have you talk about some ways to prevent and some ways to eat better just to deal with any virus. So we need that.
Yeah.
So I think a webinar from you would be very welcome worldwide.
I look forward for same. And I'm really, really honored to be part of this show. And thanks to you, to both of you, and also to Dr. Caroline Makaka for this
Yes, yes.
wonderful association. And I feel really blessed to have such people around me.
Well,
Thank
it's
you
a
so much,
pleasure.
Preeti.
You have a wonderful day and stay pretty.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.
So wishing everyone happy, safe, and healthy days ahead in 2020.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.